Get ready with me while we talk about paraeducators, because I have heard so many horror stories lately about paraeducators in the school system. Now, don't get me wrong, I have known many amazing paraeducators, especially the ones that work with special needs kids. This is just a smoothing lift serum. That are absolutely amazing and do their jobs very well. But I have heard a lot of horror stories lately about paraeducators that do not have the patience to be doing their jobs. If you do not have the patience to work with special needs kids, please do not do so. Because those kids especially need the patience and the compassion. If you don't have that, don't get into paraeducation work, please, because you're fooling yourself if you think you're helping those kids. Moisturizer by Suave. If you think you're helping these kids by being mean to them, agitating them, tough love, that's not the way to get through to a special needs kid. Knock it off. You're fooling yourself. Okay? I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but you know what? I don't care. Because Smooth and Lift Collagen Cream for Under Eyes. This has happened to someone close to me in my family, and where a paraeducator didn't have the patience to deal with him like they should. They think that they are God's gift to creation. Now, a lot of them are. A lot of them do their jobs perfectly and have helped many kids. A lot of them have uplifted kids and actually gotten them through the school year because that's what they're supposed to do, and that's what paraeducators are supposed to be doing. But a lot of them, there are, and I have seen it personally for myself as the mother of an autistic child, and paraeducators that don't have the patience to deal with them. What's your opinion? I would like to know, because I know there's a lot of people out there with opinions, and I'll probably get a lot of hate for it, but I don't care. Maybelline New York Master Prime Primer and Base. I want to know your opinion. What's your story? What have you seen or heard? I have personally been a paraeducator in the school system, and I have personally seen it on myself that they hire these educators and they don't have patience, they don't have compassion, and that's not going to help these kids, guys. Like, for real, it's not. Hate to tell you. And it drives me nuts. I couldn't handle it. I had to leave the job because I could not handle it. I could not handle seeing people with no patience and no compassion towards special needs kids that are trying to handle these kids using physical touch and restraint on kids that it isn't necessary to use it on. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. You know I'm loyal to my L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear. And I wanted to get on here and get other people's opinions because I've heard some horrible horror stories. And to the schools, do better. Do better at hiring people that have compassion, people that are willing to advocate for kids. Because you know what? A lot of these kids are too scared to stand up and say anything because they don't feel like adults are going to listen to them because they're kids. But you know what? I have learned that if a kid is coming to you upset, a kid is coming to you with a problem, 9 out of 10 times, it's a real problem. And adults put it off because they're kids. Oh, they're just telling stories, or oh, they aren't being truthful, or whatever the case may be. They don't believe them. Well, guess what? You should. You should. And that's that. Just because they're kids don't mean we can't listen to them. Kids deserve to be heard too. And a lot of people don't listen to kids because they're kids. That's messed up. I don't agree with that. Kids deserve to have a voice. And I have always made sure that my kids at least feel like they have a voice or an option in the matter. And if nobody else will listen to them, I'll listen. LA Colors Contour Stick in the shade Deep. A lot of people wonder why kids don't come forward with certain things, or kids don't speak up about certain things. Is because a lot of them feel like they don't have a voice. Because adults make them feel like they don't. And they should be able to have a voice. They should be able to tell us anything they need to tell us to feel protected. That's our jobs as adults, is to make these kids feel protected and safe. And if you can't do that for a kid, then you shouldn't be working with kids. This is something that I feel very passionate about because of having an autistic child myself and hearing the horror stories from people that have special needs kids and don't feel like anything's being done when they try to help their kid, or they try to do something about it, and no one will listen to them and no one will help them. It's ridiculous, and that should not be a thing. No child left behind, right? But yet nobody will listen when you try to do something about it. That's not okay. L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. I'm not saying that all paraeducators are bad, because I have seen some amazing paraeducators. I have seen paraeducators that have changed my kids' lives. I have seen paraeducators that deserve awards and like raises and should be God's real gifts to angels. You know what I mean? But it's those few out there that ruin it for everybody else because they don't want to do their jobs properly or don't have the patience or compassion to do their jobs correctly, and the kids suffer because of it. It's sad. Maybelline, New York, the nudes. And then the parents step up and they try to help, they try to do something, they try to speak out for their kid, but nobody will listen. Nobody will help. How is that fair? How is that okay? How is that helping a child? It's not. That's what. Why did you even get into the job in the first place if you ain't helping a kid? Or if you're just getting into it and you're trying to see if you like it and you find that it's too much for you, you can't handle it, please find another job. Don't stay in that job, because the only person that's going to suffer is those kids. You can't really see it, but I'll show you. LA Colors Black Eyeliner Traditional Pencil. You don't ever see anybody on this app talking about this kind of stuff. Important stuff. Stuff that needs to be talked about. So I'm gonna. Maybelline, New York, the Rocket Volume Express Waterproof. I have not found a better mascara that I like. So if you have any suggestions on one to try that's better than this, show me. But I want to hear your stories on paraeducation, what you've seen, what you've heard. And make sure you talk to your kids about school and paraeducation, because a lot of times these kids don't feel like they can talk about paraeducators because they're adults. Well, guess what? They need to be able to talk about anything and everything they can with you. But ain't nobody ready for that conversation. Beauty Insight Color Corrector and Blush. Definitely slayed that. So tell me your stories.